I'm Josefine Hasbo.
I'm Jaelin Howell.
I'm Sofia Cook.
And this is Between the Posts.
So I actually think it's quite interesting when you get such a question, because I think football has just been like football my whole life, right? It's been like I started when I was 7 and I just been keep going. And my first motivation is because I love the sport. It's been like a great way to spend time with friends. But I think my motivation today is because I really feel the eager to be better and to try to see like what is my potential, and to be part of Gotham and be part of such a competitive environment is kind of what is able hopefully to get me there. So I think that's my current motivation today.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, because I think we all just started out playing football because we loved it and it's a game, and ultimately at this point it still is a game that we love, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And so it's, you always hear like going back to why did you begin playing, and it's like, oh, because it was fun and we loved playing with our friends and we loved running around outside, and it's still the case. We just like lose sight of that, I think, sometimes, because it is a career and we have different motivations and goals now. But I think the basis of it is we love to play the game, and I think sometimes we get away from that, but that's the best part, is we just get to play with our friends on a field.
Yeah, my dad got me into football, and then I've just played it my whole life. And yeah, like literally like in middle school, I would just go play on the cement with the boys, and my friends would be like, why don't you sit with us? And I was just like, I just want to play soccer. And it was also too because I took any opportunity to get better. So I was like, if I can get 20 minutes at lunch, I'll take 20 minutes. So yeah, and then I literally just, whenever people ask me, I'm like, I just love running around the field and like chasing a soccer ball.
I think also at that time was when, at least for us in the US, it was when the women's national team was really starting to like catch fire and stuff, and you actually had role models to look up to in football. And I think that's why it's so cool seeing how much it's grown, because now the younger generation has role models to look up to. Be like, oh, I want to do that, I want to play for that. And I think when I was younger, I didn't have that until I was probably like in middle school, to where you could really like look up to players. Women's football actually like caught some fire and stuff and got going. So I think that's kind of important too.
Why did you start?
Honestly, my parents just threw me in like the first sport that you could play. Okay. And they're just like, they knew nothing about soccer, and they're just like, oh, like she's 3, like they should just go play. And so I like just started playing because they were like, oh, it'll be good for her development for like other sports. Yeah. And then I just ended up like loving it. And then when I was like 6 or 7, like my mom was like, she always says, she's like, you were so bad for a while. And then like all of a sudden, like I was like back of the pack, like, like running, like didn't really care. And then all of a sudden, like I flipped a switch and I just like got the ball and ran and scored. And she's like, was that Jaelin? Like what? And I guess I just like started to love it. And so I just kept with it. But yeah, my family had didn't know any of the rules about soccer. They didn't know anything of it. So, and then they've just learned to love it. So.
I love that.
I remember so I made this switch from kind of my grassroots soccer club to a more like elite soccer club when I was 12, and it was an hour away by public transport, and I had to kind of commute by myself. Similar. But my parents weren't convinced it was a great idea. They were like, Josie, like just stay, like have fun, it's close by. So I had to say to them, like, are you guys going to prevent me from making the national team, right? Like, so really, I don't know the type of kind of 12-year-old I was back then, but at least I think that's kind of a moment, I think that's quite significant in terms of making this step of, okay, I actually want to be part of a new environment that is more challenging. And because I think for me, like we're playing about like what is having fun, like I think fun, like playing with friends, but I think the fun part of it is also the competitiveness, and it's like, how can you push yourself? And that was kind of part of, I think, the moment where, okay, if I'll make this move, that's kind of what I'm going to achieve.
Yeah, I feel like I've been like such a perfectionist, so like I've always wanted to be the best. So how you were saying, like my dad would take me like all the time to the field, and then I think in middle school when I started going to camps, I was like, oh, like this is serious, like I can't just mess around. So I think then was when I like started to lock in, which is really early kind of now that I think about it. But I don't know, I just like, my dad always instilled that drive in me, so I feel like I've just always been like, I'm gonna try my hardest.
Yeah, I think it was similar. I grew up with parents that, like my dad played pro football, and then my mom was competitive in sports too, and so I think I don't know, it's just kind of like what you grow up with and stuff. And so I was just playing, but I think at some point, also in middle school, like I always knew like it was my dream play for the national team. And at that point, I don't even know if there was pro, but like that was the dream, was just the national team. And I think middle school, like you said, when you get called up into camps, and when I switched clubs and my mom was driving me an hour and a half to practice every day after school, and like that was my life, and we were really committed to it. I think that's when I was like, all right, like this, I can like really do this, and this is what I want to do. I think to all of our points, like if you're gonna put that much time and effort and energy into something, you're gonna do it 100% and fully commit to it. And so I feel like that's the switching point for people, is like when you know that you want to do that. But
Yeah,
Definitely.
it happens all the time. Like literally since when I remember, like more often than not, like you're gonna have to have mental resilience. You know, you're gonna have to push to get through it. And I think I take pride in the fact, like, you know, getting through a hard situation or a hard time, like that's where I take pride in, like, okay, like I'm doing this for myself, for my family, and I'm doing something that maybe not a lot of other people can do, and that's when I take pride in it. And I think it's also like repetition of adversity. Like the more you get through adversity and the more you push yourself and the more you're mentally resilient through adversity, it's like reps in soccer. Then it's like it becomes easier and easier because you've had reps of doing it and you've had reps of going through that adversity. So you kind of know more what to do when you do face adversity. It doesn't mean it gets easier, but you just know it's a part of the game, and you know it's a part of your career, and it's a part of life, really. So I think that's one thing that sports and football in general has taught me, is like just there's gonna be adversity in your life, and the people that are able to mentally kind of work through that, and you know, it takes a full support team. I couldn't have done it without my family and friends too. So learning how to lean on people that also know you best to get through it.
Oh, you hit all the points.
Sorry.
I think that's such a great answer.
Yeah, I feel like my family has got me through a lot of it. Like, call my mom and dad all the time, whether I'm like crying or happy, like they just help you through it.
Sports teach us so much, and I think no matter what level you're playing at, I think it's important to play, because I think in general it teaches us so many life lessons, whether it's teamwork or getting through adversity, mental toughness, a fullest confidence. Like there's just so many things that I think sports can teach you, and especially as females growing up in sport. And so I think, to your guys' point, just like the mental toughness piece, I think that it's developed like a muscle, and the more reps you get, you know, the stronger it gets. And so I think first couple times going through it, like obviously it's gonna be harder. It's always gonna be hard, but you always know that you're gonna get through it on the other side. So
It's like very important to recognize, like, when do you just need to accept, right? Just accept that it's hard. And that's the point where, like, if you're lucky, you have a support system that you can lean on. But I also think it's very important to go back to the first question, where it's like, what is your motivation to play, right? Because that's ultimately the very important ingredient that can make you push through those situations. So yeah, I think those kind of reflections are important to do kind of constantly as a player, because you're faced with so different situations all the time. But yeah, it's like, I think you hit all the points too. I still think we're at a point where we have a certain viewpoint or like a stereotype of what is to be feminine too. And I think when you're that age is ultimately an age where you are more likely potentially to compare yourself, because you're in a process where you're trying to figure out who are you and your body is changing. It's very important that we're like honoring that, yeah, girls are like as strong as boys, if we're going to kind of make that comparison, that we're trying to uplift kind of that version of, that's also part of being feminine. To be strong, to be confident, to never give up. And yeah, it's heartbreaking to kind of hear that stat, right? But it's also very understandable, because it's a very hard time in your life. But yeah, what would kind of your advice be in order to push through that phase?
Yeah, I feel like that is like a really tough period. Like even now I deal with a lot of different emotions, but I feel like just because you face something hard, like it doesn't mean you should stop. Like whether it's on the field, like how Jaelin was saying, it's gonna happen in your life. So I feel like they should, if they want to, they should keep pushing through. I mean, like, I feel like soccer has like brought me so many friendships, taught me so many things. And it's given me like ultimately confidence like off the field too, because I love playing it and it makes me feel like strong and free. So I feel like being able to commit to something like soccer is so special. So I would say, like, if you love it, just keep playing. Like, who cares what anyone thinks? I never cared what anyone thinks, so.
And I think another point of, like, why it's so important growing the women's game is because, kind of my point earlier, like, when I was younger is when I could really start looking up to people. And I think it's important for younger female athletes to have older female athletes to look up to and be like, I want to do that, I want to be that, and continue to push the game, and so that they know they have the opportunity to play, and they know they can make a good living. They know that you know, that's a career-based thing where they know that they're going to be able to do that and also live out their dream. And so I think that's important for us, is continue to grow the game. You know, like I said, no matter what level you're at, I think sport and football teaches us so many lessons, and I would just encourage everybody to stay in it just for what it brings you outside of like the sport, just in life in general, and what it teaches you and what it gives you and what you can learn from it. And I think you said it best, like, just because it's hard doesn't mean that you have to stop. And you know, soccer has given me my best friends in life. It's given me like so many opportunities where you can just go travel and see cool places. And so I think there's a lot more than just the sport itself that it gives you. So I would just encourage to, you know, just like anything in life, when it gets hard, we can't quit. And so I think obviously that also falls on us, like women's soccer, giving better opportunities for younger girls and continuing to push that and grow that.
If you can see it, you can be it.
Hey, I like that. They got to end it with that.
I'm Josefine Hasbo.
I'm Jaelin Howell.
I'm Sofia Cook.
And this is Between the Posts.